Yeah, how do you put someone in jail and you don't even name the clients? That sounds kind of insane. There was a lot of people that met with him and did business with him and traveled with him after he was arrested.
Names, last names, area codes, it's okay.
Who created this book?
Epstein.
We're so grateful to be joined by Jeffrey Epstein survivor Annie Farmer. Annie, thank you so much for taking the time to come back on the show.
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions.
Jeffrey Epstein once tried to get an invite to Joe Rogan, and Joe shut it down. Way before the document dumps, before the headlines exploded, billionaires, politicians, tech moguls, and A-list celebrities were orbiting Epstein. But Joe Rogan, he says he sensed something was off. Now, with the latest file releases, Rogan is breaking down what the FBI didn't fully redact. From entries in Epstein's infamous Black Book to what allegedly went down aboard the Lolita Express.
People have an understanding of how things are really working than ever before.
Yeah.
Like this Epstein file thing, right? That was a big eye-opener for a lot of people. When you see how many people after 2008, after he was arrested, after he went to jail, were actively taking money from him. MIT took money from him and tried to hide it and said to make sure that any donations from Jeffrey are listed as anonymous. So
wow.
you find out like people are like, they referred to him as Voldemort, like you couldn't say his name.
Wow.
There was a lot of people that met with him and did business with him and traveled with him after he was arrested, after he went to jail.
Do you spend a lot of time reading them?
No, I try not to. I try to have experts come on. I try to read. You can't change it.
Yeah.
And it'll f with your head.
Yeah, it's
like
toxic.
You will really get.
It'll stick with and I know I've tried not to.
Yeah.
On a recent episode of his podcast, Rogan shared that back in 2017, his guest, theoretical physicist Lawrence Krauss, attempted to connect him with Epstein. That exchange now appears in the newly released files. In one email, Epstein asked Krauss for an introduction, writing that he'd seen Rogan's show and thought he was funny. The message read, "It is wild, like Damascus. How are things? I saw you did the Joe Rogan show. Can you introduce me? I think he's funny." Krauss reached out, but Rogan wasn't interested. Epstein followed up, offering dinner with Woody Allen if Rogan wanted. Later, Krauss replied, "Sorry about Rogan so far. He seems more timid than I would have thought." At that point, Epstein had already been convicted on sexual charges, yet he was still socializing with major power players, emailing figures like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Prince Andrew, and Jay-Z. Rogan says he felt something wasn't right, especially because years earlier, Alex Jones had warned him about Epstein. According to Rogan, Jones had been talking about Epstein's island and private jet long before the conviction and before any official files surfaced.
I'm in the files for not going.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm in the files for not going because Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad?
Yeah, but I would have never went anyway. It's like, it's not even a possibility that I would have ever went.
But
especially after I Googled him. I was like, what the f are you talking about? This was like 2017. One of my guests was trying to get me to meet him. I was like, you high? Like, what the f are you talking about?
For what reason would you? What would be...
If I was a guy who was like sucking up to the rich and powerful, if I was really interested in hanging out with rich and powerful people.
You know, it's crazy. That's so crazy. But yeah, some people
get intoxicated by being in a circle of rich and powerful people, even if they're not, like, they don't even have any ambitions of being one of those people. They just want to be around them. They want to be around Nobel Prize winners. And because this guy what he was doing was very clever in that he was getting all of these very powerful and very respected people together. Yeah. And you would figure like, oh, it's
if that guy's there, if that lady's
Clinton's
there.
Here. This is fine.
Right.
Clinton's here. How could this be bad? Yeah. Look, it's Steven Pinker. How could this be bad? Yeah. You know, he's a genius. Like, and so you would go, I would imagine, you would go to these, because there's people that went to these, like he had parties in New York, like he brought in celebrities and comedians. Didn't Louis Black get invited to one of those? I think he's talked about it. I know Chelsea Handler went to one of them. it's like he would bring all these people in, and he'd like to be around famous people and entertainers and a lot of intellectuals and professors. And Noam Chomsky was famously deeply involved.
Rogan credits those early warnings from Alex Jones as the reason he kept his distance. He explained that Jones repeatedly claimed something disturbing was happening on Epstein's island. Not just elite parties, but a system designed to compromise powerful people. According to those claims, Epstein allegedly gathered blackmail by inviting wealthy guests to the island, filming them in compromising situations, and using that leverage to protect himself. By 2017, Epstein's conviction was already public knowledge. So the fact that high-profile billionaires were still meeting with him raised serious questions.
It seems very dark. Because it seems like it was this bizarre blackmail influence thing that was going on for a long time.
For so long.
A long time.
Through different administrations. That's what's so unbelievable about it.
It's
how long it was going on.
And here's where it gets even more unsettling. Why would Epstein be collecting blackmail in the first place? And how did he gain access to global elites? Building relationships with members of the Saudi and British royal families isn't simple. President Bill Clinton was also photographed with him. That level of access suggests it wasn't just lucky. Rogan has floated the possibility that Epstein may have been operating as an asset for a foreign government, allegedly tasked with gathering compromising material while someone else bankrolled the jets, the island, and properties worldwide. The question remains, how did he fund it all?
Let me just get real and say...
if I gun to your head, what do you think your best assessment of what Epstein, who was Epstein, who was he working for?
Well, I don't know, right? So I'm just guessing. Everybody wants to say he was working for the Mossad. He very well could have been. He could have been working for the CIA. He could have been a guy who was on his own, but also working with them, right? Like a guy that they used, but they never fully endorsed.
Like an asset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a guy who could move money around.
Right.
He definitely...
Good at laundering money.
The moving money around stuff was very weird because he had money through no way that anybody could ever explain. Yeah. He had an enormous amount of money through no way that nobody could ever explain. Which, you know, if you're state-funded, you're funded by Israel, and Israel's funded by America, and, you know, there's also NGOs and nonprofits, and there's ways to move money around where you can give this guy money.
Yeah.
So he was like... Weinstein, who is an economist, right? Weinstein's a legitimate mathematician.
Eric?
Yeah. So when Eric met him, his first inclination was he was a fraud.
He's a construct.
Yeah, a construct. And did he tell you the whole story about the girl sitting on his lap?
Yep.
So Epstein, while he's meeting with Eric Weinstein for the first time, has a beautiful girl sitting on his lap, and a woman, I shouldn't say girl. He said she was like in her 20s, and she's sitting on his lap, and he's bouncing around, start juggling around.
While he's asking math questions.
Yeah, talking serious. So he was obviously nerd fishing. He was fishing for nerds, and I think he caught a lot of nerds in that net. There's a lot of those 100%. Guys that wound up going to that island. They probably thought, this is great. We get to party.
Much of this was allegedly documented in Epstein's secret black book, a collection of names, phone numbers, and contacts tied to visitors, along with references to victims. For years, its whereabouts were unclear. Then in 2009, the FBI conducted a sting after someone online claimed they had a copy for sale. Footage released recently shows Epstein's former Palm Beach house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, attempting to sell a small black book of contacts, saying it contained powerful names and victims. In that same recording, he alleged that Ghislaine Maxwell maintained a database of girls, reportedly including explicit images. That database has never been recovered. Maxwell has continued refusing cooperation even after Epstein's death, leaving many wondering who she might be protecting, or from whom she fears consequences.
Names, last names, area codes, it's okay.
Who created this book?
Epstein himself.
This book was made by Epstein?
This is a video of an FBI sting operation with Jeffrey Epstein's former house manager and an undercover FBI employee from 2009. The Palm Beach house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, believes he is selling Epstein's address book to someone representing a lawyer of Epstein's victims.
You will see a lot of important people here.
He claims that the book contains contacts of powerful people, as well as Epstein's victims.
So those are mostly underage girls, those numbers?
They were very young.
A source familiar with the case confirmed the video shows the sting operation, which court documents show happened 2 years after the FBI demanded that Rodriguez turn over any Epstein documents. Instead, court documents say he kept the address book and tried to sell it for $50,000. In the occasionally redacted 45-minute video of the meeting, Rodriguez implicates Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate, who's now serving a 20-year sentence for of minors.
Ghislaine Maxwell was his former companion, a very powerful lady from England. She would go to the former Eastern countries in Europe and find girls for Epstein. And I knew that because I went with my wife.
Rodriguez also claims that Maxwell kept a computer database of girls, something he said he saw briefly once.
What kind of pictures?
Naked girls from Sweden, from Romania, from Czechoslovakia, from Brazil, from
All
Colombia.
minors? All young girls?
Very young, very young.
Like when you say very young, how young are you talking?
16, 17. The teenagers, they have braces, most of them.
Rodriguez provided no evidence to support the existence of the database.
Good, count it. And while you're
The video, released as part of the recent trove of Epstein documents, abruptly ends after the agent hands Rodriguez a bag of cash and says he will call the lawyer.
It wasn't just the island. Epstein's private jet, the so-called Lolita Express, is repeatedly mentioned in testimonies. Victims allege that Epstein travelled with young girls on board. What's more shocking is that pilots, crew members, and passengers were allegedly aware of what was happening, yet no one reported it.
It took a lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on, hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on and on. Drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids. It took all of these people turning a blind eye, which they weren't blind to because we were right there blatantly in front of them. They knew exactly what was going on. Everyone's turned a blind eye in the place where I was supposed to be protected, in my country where I was supposed to be protected. The justice system failed us then. I believe they're going to do something amazing for us now. I really believe in them. I believe that the New York Southern District wants to do the right thing. And I will do everything that I can do to be a part of helping them do that.
The jet also appears extensively in the newly released flight logs. Records show Epstein transported guests domestically and internationally. One January 7th, 2020 email referencing flight records states that Donald Trump was listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996. On at least 4 of those flights, Ghislaine Maxwell was also reportedly present. One record lists only Epstein and Trump in 1993. Another lists Epstein, Trump, and a 20-year-old female passenger, with part of the line redacted. To be clear, appearing on flight logs does not prove wrongdoing. These records show travel and association, not criminal charges. Still, the presence of prominent names has fueled speculation about why Trump was flying with Epstein.
Epstein's wealth was so vast, the fact that he had this fleet of planes. We've heard a lot about the Lolita Express. What happened on the Lolita Express?
Everything that happened on the Lolita Express and his other planes was the same thing that happened in his bedrooms and the massage rooms, on the beach, wherever we were. The did not stop because we're in the air. 95% of the time, there was always involved. Jeffrey couldn't take a 2-hour flight without having to ejaculate. Like, that's how sick this man was.
How did you live every day? How did you get on board that plane? How did you live knowing you're going off to New York or to the island or to wherever you were about to be trafficked to? You must have been a ball of dread and anxiety.
I was horrified, I was sad, I was angry, I was disgusted. I was a shell, and the only way that I could cope with what I was going through was, taking Xanax. And Xanax is like an anti-anxiety tablet, but it also, it took away that feeling of anger, sadness. It made me feel numb. It was a numbing tablet.
Just yesterday, the Department of Justice unredacted 6 additional billionaire names tied to Epstein. Senators reportedly pushed for those names to be revealed. That raises a bigger question. How many more names are still hidden? And why has the DOJ been slow to release them? One viral post claimed the DOJ protected predators' names while redacting victims. Another argued that political power and wealth are shielding certain individuals. These are strong opinions circulating online, reflecting public frustration over transparency.
Congressman Massey and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massey and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public? And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files.
Rogan also questioned why no one from Epstein's alleged client list has been prosecuted. He noted that the FBI reportedly holds millions of files, far more than what's been released. Epstein's black book surfaced in 2009, yet no listed names have resulted in convictions tied to it. Some online speculate this lack of action is due to how connected those individuals are. There have also been claims that Epstein worked with intelligence agencies. However, no verified public evidence confirms that he acted on behalf of any intelligence organization. Those claims remain unproven.
But yeah, I think the public will be rightly frustrated if no one is prosecuted for the Epstein client list, no one at all, which, no one, at least, I don't know, the top 5 or something, like some number. There should at least be an attempted prosecution of the worst offenders.
Well, particularly if Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for trafficking.
Yes.
Because, trafficking...
Well, that means occurred.
Right. So she's in jail for it.
Yes.
So
who were the clients?
Yeah. Yeah, how do you put someone in jail and you don't even name the clients? That sounds kind of insane.
I think, yes, it would. Yes, because...
It's just stunning that they've been able to hold it back for so long. It's really kind of amazing.
Yes.
Like when people say that people can't keep secrets, what the f*** are you talking about? Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of these things are not like... It's common knowledge, but we don't actually have the proof.
Right.
So the proof is there. I mean, there's lots of videos. Yeah, there's lots. I mean, the dude is like a mountain of whenever they raided Epstein's place, there would have been like a mountain of evidence. Where is that mountain?
Right. What'd you do with it?
Yes. Like who took possession of the evidence?
Yeah.
Specifically.
Right.
The individuals.
Where are the tapes?
So far, the consequences have mostly been reputational. Peter Mandelson, the UK ambassador to the US, stepped down after emails revealed closer ties to Epstein than previously acknowledged. Prince Andrew faced serious allegations from Virginia Roberts-Giuffre, who claimed she was trafficked and directed to have relations with him at 17. Andrew has denied the allegations. Still, King Charles removed him from honorary military roles and royal patronages, and he stepped back from public duties.
From disturbing photos of the former Prince Andrew to his alleged sharing of government documents with convicted offender Jeffrey Epstein, the fallout from the Epstein files once again putting the British royal family into turmoil. Andrew has denied all wrongdoing, but the pressure is now ramping up on the royals to do and say more about their disgraced relative. The Crown under fire.
Charles, how long have you known about Andrew and Epstein?
From King Charles to Prince William, shouted at in Saudi Arabia.
To what extent do you think the royal family has done enough around the Andrew and Epstein issue?
ITV also capturing Queen Camilla getting tough questions too.
Do you have a message for Epstein's victims, Your Majesty?
We've never actually seen other members of the royal family heckled to the extent that we have in the last few days.
Epstein is gone, but Ghislaine Maxwell remains incarcerated and has continued to resist cooperation. Victims have testified that she played a central role in the operation, yet broader accountability questions remain unresolved.
As her lawyer continues to press for clemency in exchange for her testimony, something President Trump has continually declined to rule out, how does this all make you feel?
It's honestly very disturbing to see these images of her and have her be looked at as someone who could potentially be providing any kind of information in this case. I mean, she has refused over and over to cooperate with the investigation. She's refused to she doesn't have any empathy or has not expressed any empathy or remorse to her victims. So I think it's highly problematic that anyone would consider negotiating with a serious criminal like this. And I think it would just really be indicative of guilt in some way, because we know that she is not a credible source of information.
And you say to her victims, as you know, she has repeatedly said that she had no involvement directly with actually.
Yeah, I can speak, very personally to the fact that that's not true. She was towards me. And there's so many other crimes that she committed that she wasn't even prosecuted for. There were 4 of us that testified at her trial, but I have now met so many women who say it was because of Ghislaine Maxwell that I ended up being, sometimes for years, and that she was at times involved in that herself. So she was a very central figure in this system, and her efforts to minimize her role have not been effective. We've seen in the files that have been released already several places where the emails she sent are contradictory to things she said on the record before.
Just last week, Maxwell was called to testify again, but declined to answer questions. If Epstein truly acted alone, why the silence? That's the lingering mystery.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the 5th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the 5th Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my 5th Amendment right to silence.
If you want deeper breakdowns of what's confirmed versus what's speculation, subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll keep unpacking the documents, timelines, and facts. Let me know your take in the comments. Is this a justice system failure, or is there something bigger happening behind closed doors?